Welcome back, guys. I took a little bit of a break since the last video to make sure I had everything set up properly, camera, microphone, all that kind of stuff. I noticed editing the last one that the audio especially wasn't too hot. So we're back now, back on a good schedule. Today we're hopping into episode 2 of building our gamified API. We're going over routes today, just gonna kind of make sure everything works. We're just using a dummy database, so nothing real. We're not connected to anything online. We don't even have authentication set up yet, but basically I just want to make sure that we have a good structure set up for our files, make sure we know how to get users and do patch routes and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to go over in this video. I'm super excited for it, and I'm super excited to be back recording with good quality so that you guys can enjoy the videos more. With that being said, before we hop into it, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Discord that I'm launching. If you're interested in joining a community of developers that are just trying to help each other out, help each other learn, be sure to find that down in the description. Give it a visit. I'll make sure to gamify it, add some roles and all that kind of fun stuff. But just come hang out. It'll be cool, and I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's hop right into the code and go over how we're going to make our routes. Okay, the first thing today that I just want to go over quickly before we start typing out our routes is the dummy database that I created. I gave all of my types and relations and things of that nature to ChatGPT just to create some basic data structures here. So as you can see, we have users, classes, stats that are connected to the user via ID, inventory, same thing, and achievements. Now, this isn't necessarily the final layout of things, but it'll be a good start to get us typing out our routes and making sure that everything works fundamentally. If you remember, this is where we left off last time. And today we're going to be making sure that we have actual routes that you can access that can share this information. And of course, it's a dummy database. We can't edit it, but it'll be effective. I also have this. I don't know if I'll use it today or not. And then also everything is typed out in here. So all good things. Today we're basically, like I said, we're just gonna be typing the routes out. So I have a basic layout ready to go. We want to be able to access pretty much everything through our users. So that's the first thing we're gonna create here is a users route. So I think I'll kind of walk through this first one, and then after we do that, once I start writing like patches and puts, that kind of thing, I'll come back and talk. But other than that, we're just gonna kind of be coding today, follow along. And of course, any questions you can ask in the comments, and I will do my best to answer. So Hono makes it super easy. We just want to make a get route, or a get function rather, and we can return, actually we don't need that. So this basically is just going to return all of the users from our dummy database. So there's only 2 right now, but that's plenty. And then the other basic route that we're going to add for now is a get by ID. So these are the fun ones. This is where it'll really get interesting for us. essentially all of our functionality is going to come in here. Actually, I don't want to do that. I'm going to find the user stuff, find. So we could just use our database, make a nice little arrow function here. Anywhere that the user ID is equal to the ID that's in the request parameter. And the reason I wanted to do it this way was now we can check if the user doesn't exist. If no user, we'll do that. I don't need to do that. I just need that. Sometimes that's why you don't always want to listen to the code that pops up for the AI coding. Otherwise, we're going to return user. I'm going to have a whole video where we like refactor everything, and that's all going to be in our video about making docs. So I know that there's a more condensed way of writing this, but for now, just kind of for visually for me, I like writing things out first and then going back and refactoring it, simplifying it after. So that should be all we need to get our user routes set up. So if we go to app here, and we do app.route, and then we want to grab that's one thing we forgot to do. We need to make sure we export our route. All right, so as you can see, we could access our user, and here's our IDs. When we have actual IDs from our authentication, this will be a little bit different, but for now, this is easy enough to use. So say we want to access just user 2 here, we could do this. And as it loads here, maybe, yep, here we have user 2. So, and now also, we don't have a user 3, for example. So we have a message not found, which is great. Now, before we get into patch, put, that kind of stuff, we're just going to get all the get routes set up for all of our different stats. So, or all of our different data. So stats, achievements, and inventory. That's, I'm going to go ahead, do that, and if anything comes up that's worth talking about, I'll talk about it. Otherwise, just enjoy. Okay, so before we actually get into doing things with the puts, patches, all that good stuff, I actually want to go over some Postman testing, basically just to make sure that obviously we tested it, it works, but as things get more complex, as we add authentication, I'm going to want to use Postman more. So I think it's a good opportunity to start doing that. So let's add a GET request here. And let's grab our URL. This one will just be for classes. So if we paste this in here, how do I close this sidebar? Surely that would work, no? Collapse side, okay. Well, I guess we'll just make this bigger. So this should be all we need. We shouldn't need a body or anything. This should just send a request and to return classes. So that's a very easy one. I'm gonna rename this just to classes just to stay organized. But as we add a request, let's say this will be users. Same thing, we're just gonna do this and then users. Again, we're good. Now just to test some dynamic routes a little bit better, we'll do user ID, just to name it, user/user1. Cool, so as you can see, we're still working here. I'm just gonna add the rest. Okay, so super basic, but that is, I have to make sure all these are saved. I wish I knew how to turn that off. I just like the way this browser looks better for video purposes, so that's what we're getting. But this is just gonna make it easier for us to test once we add auth and all that kind of good stuff. All right, so I think the first thing I want to add now, since it's open, we're going to add a post route for the class. Again, this is just going to be like temporary. It doesn't actually change the local file, but it's a good way of testing and making sure the API is working, our routes are working. And then once we add our DB, which will be next video, hopefully, we can refactor a little bit and everything will look good. Should be a lot easier to sort of integrate. So again, Hono makes it super easy. So this needs to be an async function. So I think what we'll do, we'll worry about adding sort of like our type safety and making sure we check schema validation, all that stuff with Zod. After when we start doing the database, for now, like I said, just trying to get like basic functionality up and running. So we're gonna automatically generate an ID. So this is, obviously it's not gonna follow our pattern that we already have, which is a little strange, but it'll all kind of work out for us. All right, so the same way we did it with all these post routes or GET routes, we're gonna add a new request. Here we can make it a post, and we just want to go. Let's see, do I have a, yes. All right, so we're gonna go into our body and as JSON, here's our new class. That's not, no, we're good. So this should, if we save it, no, now it should, if we save it and send. So we have a new ID. I actually want to move that to the beginning just for formatting purposes. But if we wanted to now, we could get this class based on ID. If we have that set up, we do. So as you can see, there it is. And we got it based on the ID. So that gives you a little bit more insight into how it's going to work once we have our full database set up with proper IDs and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to be user 1, user 2. Obviously, we're going to add some layers of security with the authentication. And some things are going to be blocked. Some things aren't. Like, I think you should be able to see all the classes without an account, but you shouldn't necessarily be able to see all the users without an account, that kind of thing. We'll figure that out kind of as we go. But that's a post route. Next thing we need is probably a patch route for our stats. So let's go back to our stats here. So the patch route is going to allow us, did I do this right? Yeah, patch route is going to allow us to make changes to our user stats. Again, this is obviously something that's going to require authentication down the road, but right now it doesn't. So we're going to create a quick Zod schema for the patch update, just for practice. So we have strength, which is going to be an optional number. Same thing with agility, and then same thing with intelligence. So we'll add more stats down the road, but that's just a fun thing that we could do now. So now we're going to parse this. So if we can't parse this, return an error. Otherwise, we're going to assign these users, stats, and updates. And then we are also going to return. All right, so definitely much longer than the other ones, but still pretty straightforward. We're just getting our ID, finding the user based on the ID, and then we're also checking to make sure that whatever was passed into our body matches this schema, which again, it's a very simple schema right now, but it'll help to have that reference down the road. So we're gonna make another request over here, and we're gonna call this one stats update. We'll just be consistent here, patch. So we're gonna update user one stats. Now, let's see what the stats are now. All right, and then what should we update them to? User one stats are 5, 7, and 15. So let's say we want to add 10 to the strength. Right now we're not adding, we just have to update it like straight up. So we're just gonna update strength to 15. As you can see here, it's updated. If we go to here also, that's not their stats. Send, you can see it's updated here as well. Let me see where we're at. So just to keep this video kind of digestible, there's a lot more work to do in the next few videos, but I think in the theme of just kind of getting things set up, this is a good place for us to kind of be right now. We have our working routes. We know how to make a patch route, a put route, post, get, whatever we need, we can take into our database. So in the next video, I'm really excited for the next video. We're gonna be adding authentication, which I've never done in a Hono app. I've done it in other APIs. So this will be the first time I'm using Clerk to set up user authentication, which is gonna be awesome. As always, if you guys have any questions or requests or wanna see something specific, leave them in the comments down below, and I'm looking forward to continuing kind of building this with you guys and taking your advice, and hopefully we get to a point where we could start testing things like with real users, and that's where you guys will come in, and we can kind of build a nice community. With that being said, I'm also opening a Discord community for developers, which will be down in the description below. I'm going to make a dedicated video on the Discord. But basically, I just want to create a community of people who are willing to help each other out and help everyone learn. I think that sort of camaraderie is invaluable for young developers. And I think that's something that you get at something like a university. But of course, not everyone is in a position to go to university, or maybe they're just even younger and don't have that sort of system. So yeah, I hope it could be something really cool. I'll gamify the whole thing in the true spirit of me, and it should be fun. So thanks for watching this video today, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.